Hi. The biggest breakthrough that has ever happened in my entire life is when I learned, understood, and I learned to apply the statement that it's okay. I learned that it's okay for me to rise this moment and the next moment to fall. I learned that we cannot all be equal. I learned that I can have this moment and the next minute I don't have. I learned to be accepted at this moment and the next moment to be rejected. I learned that struggle is part of living. I also learned that I can wake up to the best news possible this moment, and the next minute I'm waking up to the worst news possible. I learned that it's okay for me to be crying now and the next minute to be laughing. I learned that it's okay for me to have multitudes of friends around me at this moment and the next moment to have none. I learned that it's okay for me to speak my mind. It's okay for me to have a different way of doing things, different from everyone else. And I also learned that in matters of conscience, the rule of majority does not apply. I learned that God never intended for me to be like anyone else. God created me as me. You know, many are times that we lose ourselves in seeking approval and seeking acceptance from other people. But we forget that God places the right people at the right time for the right purpose in our lives. I know for sure many of us can attest to a situation where you have hit your dead end and things just happen and you just start wondering, how did that happen? That's how God works. Miracles. He will use people that you never intended. He will take you to places that you never expected you to go. He will place you where you will find your resources. I learned that struggle is part of living. And I learned that it's okay for me to be ridiculed at some point. It's okay for me to be loved, to be hated, to be accepted, to have and not to have. I learned that the burden of responding, of reacting, of taking the next step lies in the decision that I make. I learned that I'm only in control of myself and not everyone else. And I learned that God created me uniquely. That's why He never created me like anyone else. He created me as me. You know, the moment we learn to love ourselves and to embrace ourselves for who we are, that's the moment that we break all the boundaries, all the barriers in our lives. We may not be like anyone else, and we may aspire to be like anyone else. The moment we embrace who we are, we will find comfort at our different levels. When we rise above defining ourselves as far as the worldly resources are concerned, the moment we learn to embrace that God created us as us, that God never intended for us to be like anyone else, we will find comfort in whatever level that we are in, and we will be smiling like anyone else. You know, in the book of Proverbs 3:5-6, the word of God tells us, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. Speak to God. Let Him bring the right people in your life. Stop taking the battles in your hands. He will place the right people at the right time with the right resources in your life. Speak to Him, and all the joy lies in your heart. The hero lies in you. Thank you, and may God bless you. Bye-bye.